Hello everyone, my name is Tim, and welcome to Tim Talks, the show that's only partially a show, but really is just an excuse for me to talk to some of my very talented friends. I have another one here with me today. His name is Franco, also known as A Guy Named Franco on Twitter, or you might know him from Achievement Hunter's 5 Facts. Say hello, Franco.
Hello, Franco.
How's it going, buddy?
I had to use that joke. It's going well. It's going well. How are you?
Oh, another day. I'm doing pretty well, though. I can't complain.
It's good.
No one would really listen anyway, right? Except for whoever's going to be happening to watch this. I'm sorry. I'm going to go and apologize now.
So this is why you do this show. It's not to talk to your talented friends. It's so when you complain, someone can hear you.
Well, yes.
You
okay, fine.
sneaky.
Okay. You discovered me. What can I say? You caught me. You were good, sir.
Welcome to the
you
last
were good.
ever
I
episode
underestimated you, and you were good. Yes. Franco here is the man who writes 5 Facts for Achievement Hunter. You've probably, hopefully, you've seen a couple of series. If not, then you really should.
Please do.
Because they're interesting.
Please. I like paychecks.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. And so tell us a little bit about the show.
Well, if you've never seen it, and if you've never seen Achievement Hunter or Rooster Teeth, basically, it's the same thing as DVD commentary, basically, but instead of movie footage, it's video game footage. That's the way I normally explain it to people who are a little bit older. And
gotcha. Yeah, just explaining the concept of Achievement Hunter in general.
Just online video in general is a very hard concept to grasp when you didn't grow up with it. So I find that was a good way to explain it. And the reason why I use that as an explanation is because the reason why I do the show 5 Facts is because I like special features on DVDs and behind the scenes. And what 5 Facts is a video game version of that, where we talk about how a video game's made and, fun little things about it. And I really enjoy it. And I go off of that thing where if I'm making something that I would watch, hopefully enough people would be like me and would want to watch it. And that's a big thing with Rooster Teeth. So that's...
Honestly, I think that your own nerddom is kind of a really good barometer to go by. If you like, I really felt that strongly about that when I did the Guild Wars primer video. I freaking love that video, and not just from it's my baby, I created it, but quite frankly, it gives me chills down my skin.
It's something you would want to watch.
Right, it's something I would watch.
And that's what you got to hit on when you make content online, and not a lot of people really understand that. Luckily, exactly. I happen to work with a company that just really is on the same page, and I'm very lucky for that. But yeah, so 5 Facts is a series where we just take either a video game or a franchise, and we just talk about it. They're relatively short, between 3 and 6 minutes, although some of them, with like Ray and Michael, happen to be like 8 or 9 minutes. But yeah,
they can go on for a bit.
Yeah, and I cut out a lot. I'd hate to admit that. Gavin even makes a joke about it in the Deus Ex 5 Facts, how I cut out literally minutes at a time without stopping. But no one ever seems to complain, so I'm...
Well, I mean, there's a thing to be said for highly edited footage going over properly, well, not really scripted, but crafted commentary. Yeah. I mean... It's okay to not just have one long, constant stream of footage that just happens to coincide with everything, and you have to scour your brain to find that one specific part of the game, when you can just sit there and make it yourself. You can be like, okay, we're going to hit this steeple point, this steeple point, this steeple point, and then however we connect them is up to you.
Yeah, people, especially because Rooster Teeth in general, if you look at it from an editing standpoint, it's very linear when it comes to Achievement Hunter, where it's basically, point, or, this section of the video and then this section, and then, it's a nice straight line.
And you can especially see that like with the This Is
Yeah,
videos.
Definitely. And editing is a huge part of my job, and although sometimes it might be minimal, especially when a very solid episode comes out, like for instance, today is, not to ruin the illusion, but today is a Tuesday, and Tetris 5 Facts comes out today, and it's probably one of my favorite 5 Facts to come out, because it's what I want the series to be. It's not too long, it's informative, it's done by 2 people who love the game, and there's a good balance between serious and goofy, and sometimes I get lucky. and I don't have to edit anything, and it's just a very natural thing. And just that's another reason why I'm so lucky to work with achievement hunters, because they're, despite all the goofy things they do, they're all professionals. So yeah, it's really cool.
And that's a tough balance to find in say, like, I have a problem finding people to do co-op stuff with, because there are only so many people who understand the art of performance, as it were, because that's basically what this is.
Yeah.
It's
entertainment.
Now, to be fair, what we're doing right now is a little bit different, because it's, a chat, like we would be just having a smoke and a drink, we're just trying to find out a little bit more about you. But when you do Let's Plays, and when you do the more scripted stuff, and when you do stuff like what you do, the 5 Facts, you have to be yourself plus like 15%.
Yeah.
Just to stay engaging, just to stay energetic, just to stay involved.
It's weird, because people, and obviously I can't talk from too much experience, because and I'm sure we'll get to this. I don't work in the office. I'm currently in New York. And although I work very heavily with the people in the office, they have this thing where everyone's like, oh, Gavin's so stupid, or Ray's so crazy and stuff. But people, I think, need to realize, like, yeah, they are. And I know them. And, they're very funny people. They're very goofy. But there's a whole other side of them that you don't really see. And when you don't see that side, you just become accustomed to the fact that, oh, yeah, well, they're always like this. And that's not always the case. And
no.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to the whole art of performance thing.
That's what I'm tying into. It's basically you need to, it's like a persona, and sometimes you need to dial it up a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's you making that, you're creating that, so it's still you.
And it kind of comes out of a little bit of a need, because there are some people who aren't necessarily comfortable with just splaying themselves out there honestly and without reserve for the entire internet to scrutinize at will. I mean, right now, this is only being seen by probably a couple hundred people. But there will come a time, hopefully, if I, keep doing my job well enough, where this will be seen by a couple of thousand. And, sometimes we can get into some pretty heady subjects. Sometimes we can get into some pretty deep and heavy stuff, but it takes time to kind of be able to wean yourself, or as it turns out, sometimes the person that I'm talking to, into being a little bit more open. And getting to the good nougaty center, which is what we want to talk about.
I had a big problem when I first started working. For those of you who've seen 5 Facts, I was in the first 2 episodes, and the first episode that we did, it was right after RTX, after I had a big meeting with Jack and Jeff, and
RTX 2012.
Yes, RTX 2012, not 2013. Basically, they told me, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do this series, and Jack became my boss, and like he taught me how to use features on the site and whatnot. And I told him, I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to someone and we'll do the first episode. And the first person I talked to is Michael, because and let me just say this, not to be, weird or anything. Michael is one of the nicest people you'll meet. And when I was at the office and they told me that they wanted to work with me, Michael was like, congratulations, that's so cool. And he was just like incredibly nice about it. I mean, everyone else was too, but I don't know, for some reason he just stood out. But contacted him, I said, listen.
Well, to be fair, he probably feels a little bit of home in you, seeing as how you're from the same part of the country.
Yeah, a lot of people at Rooster Teeth are from the tri-state area. Little known fact. Yeah. So I talked to Michael. I said, listen, do you want to help me out and, get me into this? Because at that point, I was a very prominent member on the community channel. Mm-hmm. And
as Spec Ops, not as Franco.
Yes. Yeah, I was Franco towards the end, but it was mostly Spec Ops. But I think I did like 80 videos or something in a year. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I was like, Michael, I know you really like Resident Evil 4. It's one of my favorite games. Do you want to do 5 Facts with me? He said yes. And we sat down. I had no recording equipment because it came the day after we did the recording. And I was nervous.
Of course it does.
It was ridiculous. Like, Amazon said it would be here, but,
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Michael, let's do this. And we did a take, and I didn't like it at all. And we did another take, and I was a nervous wreck. Because, like, as I was talking, I was realizing this is a regular Rooster Teeth video, and it's going to get, like, between 300,000 and 500,000 views minimum.
Right.
and that's people, judging me. And
you start to psych yourself out a little bit.
Yeah, and it becomes apparent like
in the middle of the
video.
video. That's the worst part too.
Yeah.
Like you start to psych yourself out in the middle of doing it. And so you have the two halves of your brain, the one that's saying, no, you have to keep talking because you're recording right now and you can't just throw it over to him.
And that's the thing. I threw it over to him, and as he was talking, I'm like, holy shit, like he's being entertaining and I'm not, and then he's going to be entertaining again and I'm not.
Yeah.
So I really.
So you basically, you ended up Walt Disneying yourself.
Yeah, and basically, like I was really nervous, and the video ended. It was decent, but people did not like it at all. It was actually one of the most disliked. It was one of the most disliked videos at the time when it came out.
Oh, you mean the first one of a new project got disliked by a bunch of people? Shock, surprise.
But it wasn't about the series. People loved the idea of the series, but they hated me.
Oh.
And they were very verbal about that.
Oh God!
It's like very, very verbal. And I talked to Jack, and he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." And Caleb was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." And then I did the next episode about Sonic with Mike, or as people know, the intern Mike or whatever. And I did that with him, and it was still really, really awkward, and I was still really nervous, and I was like shaken because of the last video.
Right.
And I did even worse. And then at that point, Jack and Jeff took over commentary.
Well, have you ever thought about maybe taking some acting classes?
Yes and no. It's something that's definitely crossed my mind. Like, I feel like I could do a much better job now because I've been doing this for almost a year. In a week, I think it'll be my 1-year anniversary with Achievement Hunter.
Because the only reason that I say that, it's not that I think that you need it or anything. It's that the one thing that they teach you the most in a good acting class is how to get out of your own head.
No, completely agree.
And just be in the moment, as they call it. But quite frankly, you can still be thinking about other things. Like, quite frankly, I'm thinking about, during this conversation that we're having right now, not only the cut-ins that I'm going to have to do while we're having the conversation, so I'm going to have to reference them at a point where I'm able to cut them in. I'm also having to think about whether our sync is off right now. I'm checking off screen to make sure that we're still going. I'm making sure that I'm not messing up anything as far as audio quality, that my mic's still going. And I'm also having to remember 100 other different things that I have to do after we get done with this. And yet, still, just because I'm able to kind of freely express all that and not really care isn't the right term, but not really care is exactly what I want to say.
It doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother you.
No, because it's honest.
Yeah.
And people would rather you be open and honest than try and hide anywhere. So, quite frankly, I think if you had just been like, hey guys, my name is Franco, I'm a little nervous, bear with me here, and just kind of, had fun and roll with it, which I think you could do now. As you say, but that's kind of exactly what they try and teach you in acting classes, and that's the only valuable thing that you'll pick up from it, but it is a very valuable thing to learn. Yeah,
and as someone who grew up with, I was an incredibly active person, and now I'm just an incredibly busy person, but I was always doing something. And regardless of what I was doing, whether if it was like playing baseball or playing like the 8 other sports I used to play, I was always I always kept to myself, and I never talked to anybody. And just that led to just like a horrible self-confidence thing, which I've really never gotten over. And that a lot of that came up while I was recording those 2 videos. And I'm sure it would come up again. That's something I can't fight.
Yeah. Well, that anxiety crops up all the time. You end up thinking about the one video that you did that wasn't quite as highly of a success as the others, and how you could have done it differently. And then you start to think that you're crap, and you start to think, oh man, I can't make anything as good as the last thing that I did. I'm not gonna be able to do anything else. I suck. Why do I even try? Yeah. You know what I do then?
It's a huge mental game.
It is. I go back and I watch all of my favorite videos. When I'm having those bad days, I go back and watch my favorite videos of mine that I did. And I just kind of think about them for a minute, and I go, no, I made those in the same kind of desperate state that I am in right now.
Yeah, you have the capacity. Like, that's what you can do.
When I just get out of my own way, this is what I'm capable of. And that sort of revitalizes you a little bit. You go outside, you get some fresh air, go for a run around the block, do something to kind of spark the gray matter that's going on up there. And when you come back and you sit back down, you're filled with new ideas. Hopefully.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I know everyone has problems, and you should always, speak about your problems, and, there is ways of getting over them. But certain situations, for certain people, just stack. Like,
yeah,
it's different than, let's say, like, I had a friend who I don't want to talk to anymore, and I just have to get the courage to, like, tell them, I don't want to talk to you anymore, and that's all that. That only affects one person. But when you're doing something like what Rooster Teeth does, or what content creators do in general, it affects a lot more people. And not everyone is going to take what you say the same way. And since it's not face to face, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's ridiculous. Like, I put so much pressure on myself over the past few weeks, and I'm not afraid to admit this. Fuck. My hair is actually turning gray in the top middle part, which I find hilarious because I'm
Franco?
19. But it actually is, and I laughed really. I don't
Franco,
mind. I honestly don't.
I would rather really my hair turn gray than
absolutely.
turn loose,
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
like what it's doing for me. So it's okay. There are plenty of dyes that can do that. You know what they don't make a dye for? Non-existent. At least not yet.
Tim, you're fine.
Call a scientist. Give me a scientist right now.
I need hair dye. What color? Just hair.
Opaque. I need opaque hair.
Opaque.
But yeah,
it's a lot, and I really put way too much pressure on myself, and it's something I'm working on.
Well, I mean, and any writer will tell you this. Anyone who's been doing it for years will tell you this, that you can't control what other people think. No matter how hard you try, you can't control how someone else is going to view your content. And so, who cares? I mean, you can try your best, and that's all you can do. And if they don't like it at that point, then that's okay. If they can click off the video and they don't have to watch it. But thank you for your ad revenue and dislike, because that moves me up the boards just as much as a like, thanks to the way the effed up way that the metrics work on YouTube.
Well, by the way, if you can do me a favor, when you were saying you can't control how people think, can you watch Tim Talks like subliminally behind you?
I would never do anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot, and I wish some things are different, but overall, I could not be more thankful for the position I'm in and the people I work with. I have great bosses, Jack and Jeff, and they really work hard to make sure that I'm working hard. And there's no words for the appreciation. So that's pretty much.
Now, would you ever want to, I don't know, make a series on your own that you could do the voices in, now that you kind of have a little bit more experience under your belt?
What am I allowed to talk about? I'm working on something else. I'm allowed to say that. I am a bigger part of it than I am in Five Facts.
I was going to skirt around more to that and just talk about something completely unrelated, but sure, yeah.
No, but yeah. But in terms of making stuff on my own, I'm a media/business student. Pretty soon I'm going to be double majoring. Right now, one's a major, one's a minor. But I have two teachers who understand that I have film background, and for a lot of the projects, they let me work on personal projects instead of ones that they'd want to see. So this year in particular is going to be a really interesting year for me, working on stuff completely unrelated to, work.
And then submitting them for a grade.
Yeah. I have something that I wanted to release. I did a sound story, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like the old-timey radio plays where it's a story with no picture, but you hear all the sound effects. I did one, and my teacher really liked it, and we were going to put it into the CMA festival, which is our big, film thing.
Right.
But I don't think that festival even happened because of a computer crash.
Is there anywhere it could be found?
Yes, I have it somewhere. I found it on a flash drive getting ready for school next week.
Okay,
and I'm definitely gonna put it up, and it's full production
yeah.
value. Like it's
Yeah,
not.
by all means, it'll be down there in
Yeah.
a link in the description.
That's something that I had a lot of fun of. That was completely out of my comfort zone because that was voice acting, editing, and writing. It was all me. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. I'd love to do something like that. I've always been a fan of the old radio plays. I mean, you know, I remember. Did you ever watch All Dogs Go to Heaven? Way back in the day, it was Tom Selleck and Dom DeLuise voicing two little dogs. And
yes, yeah. I haven't seen all of it, but I have seen it because I remember saying that was Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, there was a wonderful scene where all the little puppies were gathered around a radio, watching a radio or listening to a radio play, I should say, and it just always filled me with a little bit of warmth watching that, because, you know, obviously I'm not old enough to have actually experienced it myself, so I have to do it vicariously. Yeah. But I always thought that would be fun.
I mean, it's creatively, because like I am a creative person, but I do work by myself on nearly everything I do. So it's really hard to like get ideas out there and like swap them out and, you know, build on things. But that radio play that I did, it was such an experience to just sit down one day, write it, sit down another day, rewrite it, and, you know, just by myself determine what was good and what wasn't.
Right.
And
then
just recording all the sound effects as an actual Foley guy. Wow. Where I had a boom and everything, and I did everything by hand. It took me 4 days to make. It's like 5 minutes long, and I don't know. Like, I would love to do more stuff like that, but it is slightly time consuming.
Yeah, especially if then you were trying to take it and, you know, animate it in Flash or Illustrator or whatever. Oh my gosh, I can imagine so. But I'm kind of excited to hear it. I actually, really cool.
Despite how much I hate myself, I really enjoy that. I think it's called. It's like a. I'm a huge fan of L.A. Noire, the video game, and it's basically that in a radio play, where it's an interrogation, and
that's cool.
And I actually use the L.A. Noire theme music in the background, and man, and even if people don't think it's that good, just making it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So the end product doesn't matter. It's the journey, not where you end up.
Exactly, and it gave you a whole bunch of experience and that you wouldn't have gained otherwise. And guess what? That actually would look really good on a resume.
Yeah, it's actually part of my demo reel.
Exactly. And
not only that, but we had a problem, and this is a story I like telling, and I never get to tell it. I go to a very, very, very nice school in upstate New York, and we have a great media program, but it's only headed by 2 people, so sometimes it's kind of hectic to, you know, get things organized. So we were supposed to get Pro Tools, which is in editing software, if you're unaware. And we did not get it for the 12 weeks or whatever that we were in class.
Oh, geez.
So my teacher was furious at the audio department because we needed it for like 15 or 16 units.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money. I mean,
if
you have an experience buying.
500 a grand a piece?
I think they got discounts because they're a school, but it was still somewhere in the couple thousands for buying it. So my teacher was like, does anyone have any experience with Audacity? And I was like, and I taught the whole class how to use Audacity over 2 weeks. And that was a lot of fun. I
freaking love Audacity, man. It's one of the best.
Audacity's my favorite.
It's one of the best open source recording softwares, audio recording softwares out there. I mean,
hands down.
You couple that with Fraps, and you can do just about anything on a computer that you ever want. Now, to be fair, Fraps does record uncompressed video, so you have to have so much. I had to buy a 2 terabyte hard drive specifically for recording, especially for StarCraft stuff. When I started recording StarCraft stuff, I did it in 60 FPS, and so you're talking about like,
what was your file size? Like 100 megs a second?
It was something like 300 gigs for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of gameplay.
Oh.
It was massive, but I gotta tell you, it looked fantastic.
I mean, that's the price you got to pay sometimes. I record at 12 megs per second at 30 FPS, which looks kind of
Yeah.
crappy, but when you watch it in HD on YouTube, it looks good.
No, I scaled mine back to 30, but it still captures
Yeah.
full 1080p. I don't know. I felt like as someone coming out of the gate, now we're going to call it 7 years into what will be called the YouTube revolution
Era. Well, yeah.
of entertainment, the internet entertainment. By now, someone coming out fresh should be at least of X quality. X being 1080p, 30 frames a second, no black bars, good quality audio, not recorded from a headset. That should be a benchmark to start with.
It's really ridiculous how even if someone makes really good content, if someone opens up your video and it doesn't look like it's a good quality, you're not going to get past the 5 second
That's exactly right, because people are
someone said that
people are rather
at a
superficial.
Seminar.
As much as they would lead you to believe differently, people are rather superficial, and so
I think someone said it takes 5 seconds on someone watching an online video to keep watching or actually just completely exit out. So
and you
have 5 seconds to look good. It's almost like a first impression every single time.
Now that YouTube includes the audience retention analytics, you can absolutely see that is the case. Like,
yeah, I love seeing like the drop offs and everything.
It's so quick. Unless,
but that's the way people are nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
so
there's nothing to do with that.
Do you then plan your content so that you include something at the end for those who are brave enough to stick all the way through, or do you focus more heavily on the front end where you know people are going to be watching?
I think the biggest thing that people like to do is, and I think you have this too, right? Do you have custom thumbnails?
Yes.
Okay. Custom thumbnails are a great way to get attention to a video because when people see them, no matter what style you do them in, whether you do the CNanners thing where it's like his face on everything or the machinima stuff where like the name of the show's like in the it's a great way to get people to watch it right out of the gate. And then what most people do, like Freddie W, is they put, after the video's done, they put like here, click here to watch behind the scenes, click here to watch another video. And the reason why they do that is because through the analytics and through their just common sense, they realize people who stay through the end of the video are going to probably want to watch another one of your videos. And then if every video has stuff at the end of it for people to click on, you're actually going to build a fan base that's repetitive and that's consistent.
Ending slate of some kind.
And it's a great way to do it.
And I hate to kind of point out tricks of the trade for popular franchises, but I will. You can absolutely see that in Achievement Hunter videos, because starting out you would see the ending animation and then it would just go to black. But now if you look at a lot of them, it'll do the ending animation, then it'll go to a splash screen of some kind that links you to other videos, or it'll be the other way around.
Yeah, I mean it's there's a lot of stuff to go into. We could spend hours and hours talking about just video networking and whatnot. But it's interesting. It's a very interesting
especially
subject.
Now that it's becoming more prominent and people are going to be asking, how do I? Well, the fact of the matter is most people you're going to be asking are learning right along with you, darling. We just happen to be maybe 6 months ahead. That's all.
Which might not even be that long comparatively to all the stuff that you can learn. Even if someone's like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for 2 years, they might not know anything. It's completely possible.
I didn't put out my first video until February, but this channel was created in August of last year. That's how I took from August to December to learn. I mean, just the biggest crash course ever in Premiere, After Effects, Audacity, editing processes, aesthetics of editing, you know, the rhythm, the pacing, the timing, all that sort of stuff. Researching other groups that I enjoy. I talked about this with JJ a good bit, and kind of retrofitting certain effects that I enjoy, or reverse engineering certain transitions that I liked, and picking up tricks of the trade from where I've worked on a bunch of different movies. I kind of know I can match the technique to the result. I can tell when this kind of green screen technology was used in this kind of scene, just by seeing the scene. And so you can kind of match A to B and figure out how to do it yourself. If you can say, paint that wall behind me a lime green.
Man, this is a topic I actually love it so much, and I like when I started doing stuff, I was completely self-taught because, like I said, I do a lot of stuff by myself. So like I learned how to use iMovie by myself. The only help I had was from BioRay, who's a very very cool dude on the Rooster Teeth site. He taught me how to use
very
Audacity.
prominent in the community hunters as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a question, he's your man. Sorry, Ray, if you're going to get a few more questions than usual, but he's really awesome guy.
At BioHRay, incidentally, at BioHRay.
Yes. On Twitter and on the site. So basically, I did everything myself, and through like doing community videos and feedback and whatnot, I kept learning, and I'm addicted to that. I learned how to play guitar by myself like that. I learned how to work on small electronics by myself like that. Never underestimate just diving into something and trying to learn as much as you can. Because sometimes when it works out, you just have another skill. And that's ridiculous when you think about that. It really is. Like you can spend a few months and learn how to be a content creator on YouTube, and then if you go apply for a job and they need help like with their marketing or with like their advertising, you can be like, oh yeah, I actually know how to do all that stuff.
All of a sudden you go from an $8 an hour temp job to a $15 an hour editing job.
Exactly. So
all because of a couple of months you spent pursuing a hobby on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean,
then you get,
people are not as lazy as people like to think they are.
And then you get the training that comes with being the editor, because they'll probably pay for a couple of classes if you're willing to take them, and that in turn will make your YouTube stuff better. So you never know what relevant experience and knowledge will become relevant and useful other places. Yeah,
that's what I'm doing with school. The reason why, because I'm a business student, and I've taken a lot of business classes, and I'm not to gloat, but I'm very adept and I'm very good at business. But the reason why I'm taking media instead of business is because if I'm working at Rooster Teeth, it helps me with my media studies at school. If I'm working on media studies at school, it helps me with my Rooster Teeth. And I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want a win-win situation?
As Matt Holland will tell you, it never hurts to have someone who has a business background around when you're trying to make a company from scratch.
Yeah, and business is a lot of fun. I took college accounting when I was a kid.
I don't know that I'd call it a lot of fun. I'd call it something to do.
I used to get to the point where basically if you ever take college accounting and it's 101, you learn everything, and then the last 2 months you just keep doing the same things over and over again for different companies. And by the end of it, like I wouldn't need my reference sheet anymore and stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of like that same feeling of like a to-do list when you check stuff off. When your numbers match at the end, when you do like your revenue and expenses and like everything checks out, it's like an awesome feeling, which is why I think it's a lot of fun. So call me a nerd.
Well, that might play a little bit into what, obsessive compulsive?
Yeah, a little bit.
Slightly.
It's a lot more fun when your numbers don't match and you have to go through 4 years of accounting to find one error.
One decimal moved off by one place. And
you're off by about $1,000, and the government comes after you.
Yep. You are exactly right. So, you've done 5 facts for Achievement Hunter. Have you done anything personal just for yourself? I know you did a Let's Play of Worms with our good friend James.
Yeah, we I think we recorded that the night before I was invited to come down to RTX 2012. Okay. So that was a long time ago now. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and James is a really cool kid. I wish I had more time to do stuff like that, and I wish I was better suited. But I think I need to work on a few more skills before I can start doing commentary in general. Like I might release a few. I want to start doing more behind the scenes stuff for YouTube and like short videos, like going out to GameStop and getting games and like goofing around. But nothing serious like Let's Plays, because I'm still trying to figure out where I fit into all that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah.
Well, the Let's Plays are tough, because especially if you're doing them by yourself, because the only thing that you have to play off of is your own brain in the game, and sometimes your brain fails you miserably.
And sometimes the game fails
you. Yeah. So
that's a horrible feeling, because you have jokes but nothing's happening.
Exactly. Or then both happens, and you end up with garbage.
Yeah, I've had Let's Plays where I've actually put them on YouTube and deleted them after a day, not because of negative comments, just because I'm like, man, the last like 20 minutes of that's kind of
crap.
yeah, there's nothing happening, man.
Well, I mean, you know, at that point, you kind of have to figure out something else to do. If the game is good enough for you to have that initial idea, maybe a traditional Let's Play isn't the best way to go about it. Maybe you do a highly edited one, kind of like you would with the 5 Facts, except, you know, describing the game mechanics or whatever, and more of a This Is type video instead. If you can find a game, there's usually a way to present it one way or the other.
Yeah, and that's what really, again, something that a lot of people don't realize is that that's what the really good people who are really good at their jobs can do. I mean, people like, I'm just gonna name drop a few, like JonTron and Pro Jared. They could take a game, like any game, and through their editing or through their personalities and through their writing, they can make it entertaining.
Right.
And
to mention one specifically, you know, JonTron and Space Ace video.
Yes, exactly. Like that's when you're at the point where you're not necessarily in your prime, but you're firing on all cylinders. You're comfortable, and it's just another, like, you open up a whole new world when you get into that mode where it's like, what game do I want to do today? And then you can like sit down and write jokes.
Exactly.
Like, that must be such a great feeling, and that's one day where I want to hope to get.
Well, I mean, that just comes,
you know, one step at a time.
Yeah, exactly. That just comes from experience and practice and practice and experience and practice and time.
Yeah.
That's the other
recently I've been specifically the past 2 weeks, I've actually been getting ahead at work, which is literally the best thing you can do.
Right.
And that's really freeing me up to, you know, go a little bit deeper with the research or record more of the game. I'm so far ahead that I was able to complete Halo Reach in 2 days with 30 gigs of footage, and now I can use that for whatever I want.
That's rather impressive.
Yeah, and I played on normal, so it should have been a lot faster. But,
well, I mean,
just because I work for Achievement Hunter doesn't mean I'm necessarily good at all video games.
This is absolutely
Ladies and
a fact. This is absolutely a fact. Exhibit A, Caleb.
No, okay. Caleb is amazing at games that he's good at, but he's like me. Like, you know, it's just B-roll at a certain point.
Yeah.
And you hope no one looks into it too deeply, but someone always does.
Well, I mean, you know, it happens. And speaking of B-roll, you were on the Ben Leonard Talks to People panel at RTX.
Yes.
And so are you, I haven't actually, other than the one at RTX, I haven't actually gotten around to listening to any of them. Are you on all of them?
No, and I haven't listened to any of them all the way through. Even ones I haven't been on.
Nice. So you're just a recurring guest?
I'm most of the time, Ben invites me to be on every week, but I say no a lot. For personal reasons. Right. But I'm on a majority. I want to say about 75%.
Right.
So yeah.
And is that
maybe once or twice a month I won't be on.
Is that pretty fun?
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm still slightly uncomfortable with things, and I'm still trying to find my own, and that podcast really helps. But I don't know, man.
Well,
I gotta break through a wall to get to the full cylinder mode, and I'm just trying to figure out, you know, the best way to do that.
And with all due respect, obviously, to Ben Leonard, it's kind of hard to find your own flagship when you're in a show whose name has someone else.
Yeah, that's not yours. I know, and that's a big thing. You definitely have something.
You and Connor kind of end up being the people that Ben Leonard talks to more so than Ben Leonard.
Well, actually, it turns into, most of the time, it's Ben and Connor talking to me. If you listen to a lot of the podcast, I don't talk very much. I listen a lot.
I will say this: I loved that freaking panel. That thing was so funny. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was pretty good.
If you haven't seen,
but again, that is mostly. I mean, I might have said a few things, but that's mostly Ben and Connor driving that, which you know, they do a very good job.
Right.
They're very talented people.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that ends up kind of still gaining you some sort of popularity in a way.
Yeah, popularity. That's a fun thing.
Well, what, have you been bothered? You Mr. Big now can't be bothered with text messages from people wanting to do stuff with you?
No, I ignore text messages from people I'm talking to like that day. I do that a lot. I don't know why. I'm a horrible person. But when it comes to, like, for example, like on Twitter, I have 1,000 followers, or like 1,000 whatever, which isn't a lot, but it's a lot to me.
It's enough to make Barbara proud.
Life. Yeah. It's weird because it's like it's 1,000 people, roughly 400 of them are fake, and roughly out of the 600 that are real, 300 actually pay attention,
Right.
and out of the 300, like 150, pay attention and actually respond
And actually interact.
But still, that's a lot of eyes, I guess, and a lot of, I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm not doing any, like I don't want to become famous. That's not my goal. I really like working, and I'm at a job where I get to work around the clock, and it makes me feel awesome because I get tasks accomplished and I get to work on a team, and just like that kind of semi-medium fake popularity that's happening is a side effect. And although I love talking to people and people like watch the show and like our fans are great, and I'm very thankful of how like nice they all are. It's just weird because it's attention that I'm not necessarily seeking,
Right.
but I have to deal with.
Yeah, but you have to get used to. I mean,
I know. I'm still working. It's a huge battle, Tim.
It is.
And I'm glad we actually get to talk about this because I never get to talk about it.
I'm glad I could be here for you, buddy. It really is tough, and it's.
I love you.
It's a part of the job, and it comes with the territory and all those other idioms and anecdotes that you've been told. But here's the crux of it. At the end of the day, you're still you, and you still have to go home and look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so you have to be happy with what you do, and you have to be happy with how you interact with your fans, because you will have fans. I mean, you're not an unattractive bloke, especially with your new glasses. They look very spiffy. And, you're going to be, at some point, accosted. Probably not Beatles level, but, you might have some trouble getting around RTX at some point. And it's just part of the...
I mean, I will never...
So ultimately, you're in control
with...
of that. Sorry, I forgot my point. Ultimately, you're in control of that.
And that's the thing. Like, I need to figure out what I need to do because I am in control and I can make those decisions. But like, I absolutely love the company. I love the community. Everyone is awesome. I meet people like you all the time. And
it's not you. It's not me. It's you.
It's fantastic. And I, again, could not be more grateful. But it's a scary, scary freaking thing where I need to make sure that I don't screw up in the slightest bit. Because I don't only represent myself, but I feel like I represent what I work for.
Well, that is
and
true.
Who I work for.
That is absolutely true.
And that scares the crap out of me. That's one of the biggest things I'm worried about day in and day out.
But I will say this.
Like, I spell check everything 100 times because I don't want to look bad.
I will say this.
In any,
Connect the hots.
That was fun.
Was it Mike or Gavin that jumped over his own leg?
It was Mike.
Burnie falling down on the skateboard. Chances are
one of my favorite videos.
Exactly.
Actually, I don't know if everyone's seen that one, but please look it up.
It's so brilliant.
It's so good.
Chances are, if you do something dumb, within 5 minutes, someone else is going to do something even worse.
Dumber, yeah.
And the cameras will be around them. They won't have been around you. Yours will just have been random, but someone will be filming the other thing. Yeah. So yours will be forgotten. The internet forgets rather quickly when they have something else to focus on. So you make a bad video, so what? Make another good video, and then people will be like, "Oh yeah, that was just a one-off that you can go and look at and be like, ah ha ha ha, this was his Manos Hands of Fate, ha 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 ha." You just have to be comfortable enough with yourself to be like, yeah, that sucked. That was a big old pile of shit. So what? You made a bad video. I don't know. That
maybe one day.
That's a level of comfort that comes with me having gone through now 7 years of acting and being told no constantly, and B, time. Yeah. You get older, you stop giving a shit about what other people think of you. And you just start being yourself, because apparently that's the best way to be. That's what every cartoon told us to do, right? When we were growing up? Knowledge is half the battle, and be yourself.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the two.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good place to start rounding out the show. Excuse me. Now that we come to the end of our program, I've always enjoyed the Inside the Actor Studio method of ending on a questionnaire. So I, too, have reappropriated the Proust Questionnaire.
I'm so excited because I love Inside the Actors Studio.
And it goes a little. Actually, I've added a couple new questions. I'm kind of retooling it as I go along and as I hear other good questions. So the questions are going to kind of rotate throughout the next couple of episodes as I kind of pick out the next couple ones. So bear with me. This should be fun.
I can do the actor thing where it's like the leg over leg and the,
yeah, sure,
and the
absolutely. We can't see down there, but yeah, sure, do whatever you want. I'm wearing pajama pants, so if I did that, you would see.
You're wearing pants. Damn it!
I am vastly overdressed. So, questions. Franco.
Yes.
If you had a choice, what would be your superpower?
Invisibility.
And what would be your weakness?
Putting clothes on, because then it would destroy the invisibility.
Fair enough. What's your favorite word?
Receptacle.
What's your least favorite word?
I don't know. Anti-receptacle? I mean, keep it balanced, right?
Sure, why not? What hero or heroine do you identify with the most?
Batman.
What villain or villainess?
The Riddler.
Nice. You're actually the first person who's been able to give me a quick answer on that.
Yeah, Riddler's the
What
best.
turns you on, either creatively, spiritually, emotionally?
Getting stuff done, and that feeling you get when you finished what you started out to do.
What turns you off?
Setbacks that can be avoided, but for some reason they just keep happening.
Mm-hmm. Stupid mistakes.
Big one. Yeah. Small ones too.
Yeah. What other talent, other than the ones that you were obviously gifted with, would you like to have?
Juggling. Something I've always wanted to do.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously, there's more talents, more useful talents, but off the top of my head, juggling seems like it'd be fun
what
to
is
do.
your favorite curse word?
Italian or
Doesn't
English?
Matter. Both. Both. Do both.
Shit with anything attached to it in English.
Oh, shit, whore cunt.
Exactly. Just throw stuff on. And in Italian, it's faccia de cazzo, which is translated roughly into penis face.
Right.
Or dickhead.
Faccia being face and
face and day
of dick.
Face of dick.
I love
every language besides English is weird.
And yet they're all very similar because I took French, but I was able to kind of figure that out because of cognition.
Oh no, yeah, French, Spanish, and Italian.
Gotta love the romance languages. What sound or noise do you love?
The sound that my computer makes when something's done, like rendering, like that.
Nice. What sound or noise do you hate?
Just angry, like not like happy yelling, but like angry yelling.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Where would you one day like to live?
Either Italy or someplace in the southern states.
No bias there, huh? Yeah. If you had a choice, how long would it take you to respawn after you died?
Oh man, probably a year. Just to see, like if I died, and just to see how people like either moved on or reacted to it. Probably a year.
Interesting. That's a very interesting answer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our show. I want to thank you so much, Franco, for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, just everyone keep being nice and fun and enjoy. And really, I really hope like the thing that people get out of this talk is, you can do shit. It's just a matter of time and
we
practice.
are both in our bedrooms.
Yeah. We are both. I have Captain Dynamic behind me.
So if we can do this here, you can do yours anywhere. So go follow him on Twitter. His name's been underneath him this entire time. A guy named Franco, is that right? Yeah. Yes. And go follow him on Rooster Teeth. It's just Franco over there. He's got the nifty little cast and crew logo next to his name.
No, do I?
Don't you? I thought you did.
If I do, because I haven't checked it in like a few days. If I do, I'd be very. I'd cry on camera.
Okay, maybe I misspoke.
I have a star next to my name. I know that.
Maybe I just misspoke.
But if there is a cast and crew, I'm probably going to cry on camera because I've been
one day he will have cast and crew next to his name. If not right now.
I can't
In the future, when you're watching this, he will have cast and crew on his name. My name is Tim Leftwich. You've been watching this on youtube.com/Tim Leftwich. I now have a SoundCloud page where you can download the audio version of this podcast and all of the other ones that I've done so far. It's soundcloud.com/Tim Leftwich. Yes, I'm making it incredibly easy for you to find anything that I make. Please go there. Like I said, you can find all of the episodes that I've done so far and any ones that I put up from here on out. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
I'm hoping that I'll be able to have this up Wednesday. I'm going to have to schedule it for release because I will be moving Monday.
I'm so jealous. I want to punch you in the face.
If all goes according to plan, which I pray that it does.